Rita, this is the Maya Minutes, Bites, and Delights, where I track my Zepbound journey. However, I'm sad to say that my Zepbound journey has been derailed. Yes, you heard me. Derailed. Unbeknownst to me, my insurance carrier or company has decided they're no longer going to cover my Zepbound in 2026. No, they're not going to cover it. So, and I found out going to get my prescription. The last thing they told me when I went to I called them. I called the company and said they said that my pre-auth had run out. It had run out in December. So I needed to get a new pre-auth because as of January 1st, I was going to need a new pre-auth. And I said, I thought it was from a year to a year. And they were like, no. I could have sworn it was from April to April. But she said, no, it ended in December. But she didn't tell me, and maybe she could tell me, but I don't know why she couldn't, that they weren't going to cover it anymore. So why even have me do a pre-auth for a prescription that you're no longer going to cover? Anyway, long story short, I tell my good doctor's office that I need a new pre-auth because my pre-auth is about to run out. So they do the pre-auth for the Zepbound. Well, they get it. They get the thing. Unbeknownst to me now, I am going to the pharmacy to pick up my prescription. I go to pick up the prescription. The lady hands me Wegovy. I said, ma'am, this is not right. I said, what happened to the Zepbound? Because I looked at it, my name was on it, everything was, And she said, well, your doctor, she said, well, you needed a pre-auth for it. We sent it back to your doctor's office, and this is what came back. The prescription for Wegovy came back. And I was like, what? I luckily had an appointment with him on Friday. So I said, you know what? I'll talk to him about this Friday because the last conversation we had, we didn't talk about switching me to Wegovy. Now, mind you, this is before I found out that my Zepbound wasn't covered anymore. So this was a Wednesday. Thursday, I go to work, and I said, I'm calling them because I want to know what's going on. So I get this lady on the phone, and I said, do y'all still cover Zepbound? And she told me yes. So I'm thinking that my doctor's office is screwed up. So she said, yeah. I said, because I was getting a pre-auth. She said, yeah, I see the pre-auth here, and it's still pending. I said, well, didn't you get something from the doctor? And she said, well, it looks like we got it on the 21st. Well, it was the 22nd at the time when I was talking to her. And I said, okay. And she said, well, it takes about 3 days to process. And then, that's it. And I said, okay, well, and then next week I'll get my prescription. I'm thinking I'm cool. Like maybe this was a mistake. They mistakenly maybe put it in for, maybe Wegovy was for someone else, right? Okay. So I go into the doctor's office because me and him had to talk about. The whole point of my office visit for Friday, we were talking about my blood work because some things didn't come back. The elevated little things came back. No, a little not elevated, but the other way around. They weren't as high as they should be. And we were actually talking about that. Cholesterol and hemoglobin or globin or whatever, however you say it. The numbers weren't looking good. So while we were talking about that, I said, well, y'all submitted a prescription for Wegovy, and I've been on Zepbound for you. He said, because it's not covered. And I was like, what? He said, yeah. He said, here's the pre-authorization right here. They denied it. And I was like, they denied it when? I said, I just talked to them yesterday. They said it was still processing. I said, can I call them now? He said, sure. So he's sitting there just as nice as I call. I get somebody else on the phone, and she tells me, no, we don't cover Zepbound anymore. I said, I just talked to somebody yesterday. They told me, yeah, and then I had a pre-auth for it that's still pending approval. And she said, yeah, I see the pre-auth out here. It is pending approval. He said, but once it goes through, and they're going to reject it because we don't cover Zepbound anymore. She said, but you can get Wegovy. I said, yeah, I already got it. I picked it up yesterday. I was thinking it was a mistake. I mean, I said, well, I picked it up whenever I picked it up. It wasn't yesterday at that time, but anyway. I was like kind of messed up a little bit. So I get off the phone with them and I said, well, what are we going to do? I said, because Wegovy is 1.7 milligrams. I was on 10 milligrams. But of course, by the medication being different, they're not the same. He said the Wegovy 1.7 is equivalent to what I was on in Zepbound. They only have like maybe, I don't know how many doses they have in Wegovy, but the highest is 2.4, where the highest in Zepbound was 15 milligrams. It's crazy. It's crazy. I said, so what are we going to do? I said, because the last conversation that me and you had, and I even shared it with you all, that he was going to wean me off of Zepbound. I was going to stay on 10 milligrams, but instead of taking the pen every week, he told me to take it every other week. And he said, well, we're not going to do that with Wegovy because we got to see how your body reacts to Wegovy. And if you lose, then we'll, just stay on it for a month. He said, I want you to take every pen each week. And he said, and we'll see how it goes. If you gain any weight, then we'll try to kick you up to the highest dosage, which is 2.4 milligrams for what? Wegovy. Wegovy. I don't even know how to say it. I think it's Wegovy. So I said, okay, we'll see. Now, I don't know what to expect. I feel like I've been on I've been on Zepbound for a year and a half. My body has acclimated itself to Zepbound. And now I have to see and just be on the lookout for the different signs of different side effects that Wegovy might have on me. I mean, I don't know. It's a different drug. And I might not take to it too well. I'm nervous as heck. And I've come a long way, you guys. Y'all know I done come a long way. And I refuse to be back like this. I refuse. So something's got to give. So I don't know. Maybe I can't even get the discount card for Zepbound anymore because they don't have them anymore. Maybe I go on the website and see if they have any discount cards. But if Wegovy ain't the move, then he might have to put me on Mounjaro. Because isn't Mounjaro the diabetes one? It's the same as Zepbound, but it's for diabetes. I mean, they do the same thing, and they're both whatever that name of whatever the GPL, the GLP, whatever the GLP-1, the counterpart for Zepbound. The one is weight loss, one is diabetes. I think Mounjaro is the one to Zepbound. I feel like he could put me on that. That way it wouldn't be too different. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be that much difference. I don't know. People have had success with all of them, actually. But I just know at the end of a year and a half, why would I just want to up and just change? You know what I'm saying? Why would you just change my medication? At least give me the option to want to pay a little more if I want to take it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to cover all of it, give me the option to say, well, no, I might need a lesser a drug that costs a little less. Give me the option to do that. Don't just say, here, that's all you can get. But anyway, this
really sucks. And that is where I'm at with it.
Y'all, please like, share, and subscribe if you are in the same boat as me and you've had to stop taking Zepbound, you're now on Wegovy. Tell me what you've encountered. Tell me, if there's any side effects. Tell me, what do I have to look forward to? Let's share. I know those of you that are on Wegovy, if y'all have been on Wegovy for the duration, tell me how that's fared with you. Tell me how it's worked out. Like I said, I've read success stories with Wegovy. I'm not downing Wegovy at all. I just don't want to. You've been used to taking a certain drug or certain medication, and you know that it works. You know what I'm saying? It's a little scary when you're switching and you're dreading looking like this again. I don't want to go back to that again. And I know how to push back from the table. There's one thing I did learn being on Zepbound, though: portion control. It did suppress my appetite. When I was full, I was full. I didn't continue to eat. I just want to make sure that Wegovy has the same amount of appetite suppression as Zepbound gave to me. If it does that, then we're good. I don't want to hear any food chatter, food noise, or whatever they call it. I don't, because I don't have it. When I'm hungry, I eat. But as soon as I'm full, I stop, because I don't like to feel, I don't like my stomach getting tight and everything like that. And I just save whatever I'm eating and I pack it away for later. I don't want to overindulge. I don't want Wegovy to be not suppressing my appetite. And I just feel like, I don't know, I just got to get used to a whole new different drug all over again, and it sucks. It really does. Y'all, anybody with encouraging words, please, I welcome them. If you're on Wegovy now and you've had success, tell me about it. Whatever pitfalls you may have fallen in, whatever side effects you might have encountered, please let me know. Let's meet down in the comments and talk about it. With that being said, y'all, everyone be blessed. Peace.